Yes, y'all. Good evening, I should say. I know I probably had a mix up. Hoping I'm coming to you a little bit better right now. I know how StreamYard has been, and Wi-Fi ain't been acting right either. That's another thing. But like I said, I was going to come back and give you guys an update, and uh, our prognosis so far is good. That's what I'm going to say. I did speak to Miguel this afternoon. Uh, she still has her sense of humor. She's going to have to go through physical therapy. Uh, the only thing I can say about that is God bless her. God bless her. Jesus is wonderful. I was going to sit up here and talk about things that I've been watching the week before all this transpired with me. And I have to let you guys know that I'm doing okay. When it first happened, yeah, I was shocked, angered, bitter. I didn't feel right, really, because I had been listening to a lot of craziness that's going on here on these YouTube streets. Hello, Corrine, darling. Thank you for being here. I had been listening to YouTube a couple of days before all this craziness went on. And I don't know, vibrant love with that smile turned upside down. Thank you, darling. Thank you so very much. As I was saying, she's doing great. She's going to have to go through a lot of physical rehab. Her left side isn't functioning since the stroke, but her sister and herself said that they're going to work towards it and getting her back on her feet. Also, another good thing about it, she is feeding herself. So that's another thing. Uh, well, what I want to share is the things that's going on with Miguel right now, and then the other things that I've been seeing here on YouTube that makes me wonder about how we treat each other as people and human beings. And in a crisis, uh, I get I get kind of upset when there's a crisis that goes on personally with myself, but I try to resolve it in the best way that I know how without fussing and cussing. Thank you, Vibrant. Thank you. Thank you so very much. I try to resolve without fussing and cussing, and especially when it comes to our black females on here and the things that we say to them or say against them at times, it bothers me. I know there's some people out there that wonder, well, why not talk about them? They talk about you. Well, it's never been in my nature to really get on a public platform and disgrace or try to disgrace a woman. You know, we have to learn to be tolerant of some things, but when it goes public, I don't know. I don't know what to think about that. When you share your most intimate thoughts with the person that you thought that cared about you, or you had feelings for, and then it goes when it goes public, people will want to ridicule and talk about it. Uh, I try not to reflect back on what's happened to me on YouTube, and a lot of people knows what happened to me. You know, yeah, it's conflict resolution. It is a very, very important means. But my conflict resolution to things is, instead of getting up here and cursing all the time and calling women the B words and all that, I just wanna try to smooth it out and let it go. But then again, I know there are some people in the world that are just devils. There's things that happen on here that uh well, you got that right, Vibrant. Emotional. And I noticed how they tried to do you and drag you into the mix too. You never done anything to anybody. You never said anything discouraging. You've always been there for people when they wanted you, or needed you. You came up on their platform. Uh, I know I don't have the wrench by you, but I'm gonna get that on there too, dear. Okay, I'm gonna get that on there because you are a good moderator. You are a very excellent moderator, and can't get me. Yeah, okay. Now remember what happened to the gingerbread man. Oh, thank you. But no, when things like this happen, I go into I don't say depressed state. I go into a state of vulnerability where I want to just cry out and ask God why. We all wonder that. And then I look at the world itself and what it consists of and the things that we do on here. Oh, well, okay, dear. Okay, you say don't worry about it. I won't. I won't. But you've always got one if you want it. You always got it. And I appreciate you being here. Just like I appreciate a lot of people being here, especially when I do my music. Now, right now, this platform here is going to be for talking. I'm going to try to bring people up when they want to have a decent conversation. Uncle Claude and I was talking about doing a show for men, with two men at least, on if anybody else want to come up later, about old and young, the things that happen to us being men getting older. I'm already older than he is. I'm already older than a lot of people on here. So I kind of want to reiterate that when things happen in a crisis, there's two things that we could do. We could go bury our head in the sand, or we can come out and talk about it and fight against it. And there's a lot of things that's going on in this world that a lot of people are ignoring. Right now, there's conflict on our platforms, on our YouTube streets between a man and a woman, and all this other stuff, which I don't really want to get involved in it. I really don't, because I have my thoughts on that. I've seen how young women and young men can get into a conflict when other people are involved, such as mine. And I can also say that this sector, being what it is so different. Okay, it's what you do best. I understand, dear. I understand. This sector here, it's vicious at times. It's so vicious to where a lot of things I just cut off and just it's just ignore it. But then again, I do watch certain platforms and I hear certain things and I see certain things. And I share quite a bit out on this platform here, on this channel. I share a lot of things that I might think that people might want to hear, or I also share the good things out that come out of people when they're doing their content. Uh, Miguel and I, we've been close. Oh God, forever it seems like now. But when I think about what she's going through, and I listen to other people on here, and I see other people on here degrading one another, acting as if we're less than what other people think of us as a society. You know, our stuff is heard all around the world. It's heard everywhere, and people have a tendency to look at our race in this country and is that all we got to offer? No, that's not all we got to offer. There are some other platforms that I do go to that have good advice, good information. But when you get stuck in a situation where you like the drama, and we always raise up on soap operas, to me, this is a soap opera. To me, this is a soap opera. I try to listen to it as television and think about the characters in it and how they're how does it affect their lives. Uh, I want to say I listened to you, yeah, this afternoon, and I want to say thank you for speaking up and speaking out as a woman about other women and the things that they do. Uh, with the big man saga, I'm not gonna touch on that too much because I have been in touch with attorneys in the past 4.5 months about certain things that went on with me, and things take a it takes time. It takes time. And I want to tell people just be careful of what you say here on YouTube, what you say on these apparatuses out here, because it is being recorded. It's being recorded. Yeah, Young and the Restless to you. Okay. Uh, things are being recorded, the things you might say and do. And there's new laws on the books that's going to come down hard on people when it comes to saying things and doing things about a person. Doxing is one of the main issues that they're tackling now. Your pleasure, 721. Hello, darling. Thank you for being here and listening to my thoughts. I'm just trying to pull stuff out that I feel that people need to know about right now, especially here on YouTube. And Miguel is doing great. She's out of ICU. She's in her own room and she is feeding herself. So that's one good thing. And she has her speech, even though it may be a little bit slow, but she has her speech and her memory is pretty good. And she told me to tell all you guys to thank you for your prayers and your thoughts. And she's going to fight this. She's fighting this real good. She's fighting it. Uh, I just want to say, with the things that are going on in the government and with the laws that are being changed, especially here on the internet, we're going to find out pretty soon that making the smallest things, they can turn it into what they call terroristic threats. Uh, as you know, there's been a lot going on these apparatuses, and as far as people getting off and people going out and fighting each other, hitting each other, and it's being done on live stream. Trust me, people, they're going to prosecute those kinds of things to the fullest. Uh, they're taking away, they're not taking away your right to speech. They're taking away your right to do violence on here, to threaten people on here, to bring up things about them that nobody would know unless you went out, found out the information, And the companies that are providing the information, they're gonna try and do something with them too. You know, we know we can go to verified and all this other stuff and find out about a person's name, address, and all that good shit. But it's not worth it. It's not worth it when you don't want your freedom. Uh, no, I really don't take it to heart anymore, honey, because like I said, I've been talking to an attorney about things that's going on, and he's the one that informed me right about the doxing and the things that are being changed in law as far as the internet is concerned with people. Uh, Here in Missouri, they're taking all the telephones out of the school system now. No child can have a phone here in Missouri. And I was just wondering, how people feel about that. Jane Hawk, hey, welcome, darling. Glad to see you. Glad to see you here. Like I was reiterating before, LaGail is doing better, honey. She's doing great. She's not out of the woods yet, but as her sister says, she's not in. She's still in them bushes, but it's not the woods. Okay, it's just a little brush. But here in Missouri, they have taken. The law has been passed that the kids are no longer allowed to have their phones in school. That's in the whole state of Missouri. Now, how do I feel about that? I don't know because your generation, the generation that's behind me now, they're so used to having phones with them, and the parents are used to, yes, praise God, their parents are used to them being able to get in contact with them. Yes, dear. Like I said, that's in different states, and that's another thing we have to realize about that. Different states have different laws. Different states do things differently. But here in Missouri, it has been passed as a law that no telephones in public schools now. Now, private, I don't know, but public schools and high schools, no. uh, should your child have a phone in school? Yes, if they know how to use it properly. You know, uh, let's face it. There's a lot going on out in the world, and really, right now, it's even dangerous for kids to be going to school. Really, I mean, you look at things that are happening not just in your town, it's happening in my town, other places. People have to realize that it does take a village to raise a child. And if everybody wants to be separate, how can they raise a child? So it's your law too? Okay. Yeah, it is a new day. It's a new day, far as having phones in school because hell, even for our shit, it was a long time. All we had was beepers. I can go back to the beeper days, but there was no phone calls. And on top of that, you wasn't sitting here Googling in school and looking up stuff that a lot of kids really, to be honest with you, shouldn't be looking at here on these apparatuses on their phones. But it's a new, as you say, it's a new day. So how do we adapt to the new things and the new changes that are going on? That's a good question. Myself, at my age, I try to keep up with the latest electronic gadgets and all this kind of stuff, but I'm not gonna be too serious about it because, like I said, yeah, we're both old school. We're both old school, but some the younger generation think that being old school is passe. Uh, but they do have a lot to learn from if they would just sit back and look at their history. They've taken our histories out of schools. They don't even teach kids to really write anymore. You know, they got them electronic signing. If you sign something electronically, that's your signature. You know, uh, pretty soon you won't have to really. School, I think, is some schools are trying to stick to the old ways, but when you get the newer generation of modern day teacher in that's used to those electronic gadgets and stuff, they try to make it easier on themselves too. Let's face it. The older you get, the easier we want things for us. Yeah, new generation, but the day hasn't changed. The day still remains the same because here's the way I look at it. We all live here on earth. Just because a person is not smarter than the next person doesn't give us the right to ridicule or talk about them. Just because somebody has a disability doesn't give us a right to get on here and shame them. Some people, they seem to get a kick out of that. I don't know. I guess I'm just like I'm like Eugene. Though I guess it's okay for young people to call each other derogatory names to when back in the day when I was coming up, hell, I fought like hell. I didn't like the MF word, and I stayed in trouble about that. Um, I didn't like the B word either, really, because the way I was taught, yeah, penmanship is horrible. That's true. That's because they're not teaching them anything in school like that. They took out the penmanship for that cursive writing. Uh, Hell, I remember when we used to have to remember telephone numbers, and people now have a tendency to forget how to even memorize a phone number. They got it stored in these doggone contraptions we got here. Yeah, and I'm guilty of it too. But I also know if I look at it enough and what I do usually do, I try to dial it on my pad when I'm using my phone. I try to dial the number. And yeah, I cheat a little bit because the name pops up. At least when I'm dialing the number, I can associate myself with that. That's what keeps my brains clear too. I listen to a lot of, like I said, news and things that's going on in the world, and I try to get out and have fun with myself. Right now, young people are today to me they're angry, but they don't know what they're angry about, and that's another thing. You know, I would say that. Wow. That yeah, back in the day we did have big families like that. Like I said, uh our family, well, it was five of us in the family, six really with my stepbrother, because he's always my brother. It was six of us in the family. My stepbrother, he was way older than I was. He was like 15 years older than I was. And he his life was completely different from ours growing up as children. Um, that's so true. Yeah, that's true. They can't go outside to play because you never know. Some fool is out there with a weapon or something, and they're shooting up the neighborhood or shooting at somebody, and a stray can get them. There's been a lot of kids in the news I've been seeing that's been hit by stray bullets and all that stuff. That brings it to gun laws. Should gun laws be changed? It's a. I don't think that the Constitution was really written for us per se, far as guns and being equal and everything else. Because if you really look at the Constitution, it wasn't meant for black people. Let's face it. There's a lot of laws that we had to fight for and get. Uh, There's a lot of hello. I missed you, sweetheart. I missed you. Hello, darling. Hello, mixology. Yeah, Lagale is doing great. She's able to she's able to talk and feed herself right now, and they're gonna she's gonna have to do rehab because her left side is the side that the stroke hit on the left side. Um, and she also told me to tell you, especially, dear, that she loves you and she will be back with us. You know, she's gonna get herself together. But as I was saying, people are just so I don't know. I can't say they're hateful because hate is a strong word. I just want to say they're impish, but no, they're not kids. Grown ups, as we get older, as we get to be older, there's certain things that we know we don't like and the things that we don't do. And no, no, I didn't. No, no, I don't think you're trolling about Carlton. Hey, to be honest with you, I have a famous relative, but I don't want to put him up there because I, mm, I don't know. People be looking at me like saying, "Well, that's why you're like you are." Well, no, that's not like why I'm like that. I'm like that because my dad, mom taught me better. But if I gave you my relative's name, you'd be saying, "Oh boy." Yeah, she's gonna get stronger, and I'm praying for recovery. It's like I said, she's not in the woods anymore. She's just in the bushes right now. And she did listen to my live this morning. Her sister was there with her at the hospital. Yeah, but no, as I've gotten older, there are a lot of things that aggravate me. You know what I'm saying? For the things that I fought for, it looks like everybody's trying to give it up and let it go. They don't care anymore. Young people don't care. There's a few out there that do. I'm not blaming everything on young people because believe it or not, there are some old people out there that give young people a bad example. Truly, yes. I mean, I try to live and let live. But then I see there are other people out there that really don't give a shit about people living at all. Really, they want to control them. They want to get on these little apparatuses and try to shame them. And like I said earlier before, people be aware of what you say on these platforms now to other people and the way you talk about them because there are laws that are going to hit the books. And they're going to hit so fast until we're going to be wondering why is YouTube doing that, doing this to us. They're going to have to because they are in the act of right now being, and I'm going to put it out there. There's going to be some litigation between YouTube and Google, and especially with this new president, you guys, we got that. There's going to be a lot of things that can't be said here anymore to a person or persons or about people. I will do that. I will definitely do that, Gene. There's a lot of things out here that you're not going to be able to get away with because they're going to call it terroristic threats. You know, you can go to, you can have somebody knocking on your door after you talking about meeting up with them, or telling them, what it's going to be a Gestapo type thing on YouTube now on these things. If you noticed, a lot of people, a lot of people are they're borderlining between being knocked off here, not being able to get back on again, or they're going to have somebody taking them to court, you know, posting pictures of people and things in a derogatory way, or even, you know, porn bombing. There's ways to find out who's doing the porn bombing, and the people that are out here porn bombing, and they're admitting it. Don't be surprised if you get a summons to come to court one day. You know, Big Brother is watching. It's becoming a Big Brother state, believe it or not. Even in Chicago, they're on high alert because the National Guard will be there. And that's another thing. I don't want this country to turn into what should I say, a dictatorship type country. But the way people are moving and not paying close attention to the things that are going on. And I want to thank uh, Miss Olivia. And I also want to thank Dee Dee Love for their contribution when it comes to making sense of what's going on in this world. You know, yeah, it's gotten really dark. YouTube has gotten so dark until, like I said, it's gotten so dark until they're going to put the law down on us. They're going to bring the laws down upon us, and a lot of people that are being paid by YouTube, they're not going to get paid anymore like they used to. And if you notice, even during live confrontation now, if you sign up for the to have commercials in your stuff, that's another thing that irks me too. When you have a good panel and a good discussion, a commercial pops up right in the middle of it. They don't. It should be a way that they should give the content creator a message or something that says, "Hey, you're going to have a commercial within the next 20 seconds," so they can kind of alert you and then to quit talking. It's kind of frustrating with me. Now I'm going to talk about it. When I'm listening to something on YouTube, good, or I want to hear somebody say something, and in the middle of the sentence, pop up jumps a commercial. Now, when you think about it, yeah, they're saying, well, you get paid for putting commercials in there. Yeah, but do you think about how money they're getting from the advertisers to pay them to put that commercial up there? What percentage are you getting off of it? You know, it just if you're smart, just put it in at the end. Uh, you don't have to put it in right at the beginning. And then some people have like 4 or 5 commercials pop up on them, and they have good content too. They be having good content. I'm never gonna I'm never gonna put up in here to where I have commercials, y'all. Like I said, to me, this is a way of me getting my voice out. I'm not gonna confide to I'm gonna confide to the rules and regulations as far as when it comes to doing certain things, but wanting to get paid for a job that I used to do voluntarily, trying to talk with people and getting out and spreading the word. I don't need that man's money. I'll put it that way. I don't need his money. Right now, to me, money is no issue. It's really not. And a lot of people should know that by now. But I just want people to be more cognizant of what you say on here and what you do and pay attention to the news every once in a while. Ronnie Q, I thank her for her advice. Now Ronnie Q has, yeah, her viewership has dropped a little bit, but still, if you just do a replay on her or something, you can pick up something. You don't have to do replays on everything, but the things that matter the most to you, just think about what's important to your life, your well-being, your state of mind. Arkansas, thank you for joining me, darling. Thank you for joining me. Glad to see you here. I, I'm I'm trying to keep up with the with the chat, but sometimes my apparatus will jump it, and then I have to go back and look at it. But thank you so much for being here, and I want to say I enjoyed your channel the other night. You guys, she plays poker. Is it on Monday nights, Arkansas? That's Charlie's one of Charlie's friends. Yes, she's good people. Good people. That's all I'm going to say. I've been on our platform with other people, and we've had discussions and about things, and they have fun. They have fun. They play games and do karaoke too, like Barry Carey and the rest of these guys. what I what I really want to tell you is that be careful. Be careful out there. Be diligent of what's going around you in your neighborhood and everything else. And I'm going to talk to you about health and well-being, the things that we should be doing to make our lives better. I should have done it years ago, as far as taking care of my health and stuff, but I guess I waited almost a little bit too late. But thank God I'm still here. At I was diagnosed with cancer at a younger age than I am now. I came through that. I had a blood clot on my lung. Well, you know what, Corrine? They do say horrible things to each other back and forth, and then they're right back loving each other. Where does that come from, though? What does it? I mean, how do you think a person feels about that? The way I look at it, for me as a man, now women are very forgivable. They can forgive at the drop of a hat. Some of them can, not all of them. Now, let's not generalize. That's another thing. When we talk about things, people think we're generalizing it. No, I'm not generalizing it, anything, because myself, I'm like this. Once you have done something to me that really shows me that, hey, you don't care about humanity or anything else, I'm done with you. Uh, I I can say, yeah, I've made my mistakes too, but I've never been so diabolically angry at a person to where I want to put them out publicly and talk about their children and talk about their relatives that have been dead. Yeah, I cussed a few people out on here. And as a man, I talk to a man like that. I'll tell a man off in a minute because being men, we have that egotistical stuff. Women have love and nurture in their heart. Men have survival, and they should be having uh, wanting to take care of families and stuff. Take care of the kids and all that. That's another big story. I want to say I've watched people that I've been on here with go through things and go through arguments and talk about each other. And I try to stay out of it because I listen to everybody, and there's two sides to every story. But there's their side, one side, the other side, and then there's the truth. And when the truth comes out, people should not try to take that truth and turn it into a lie. A lie is it'll stick to you longer, and the truth will. They say the truth shall set you free, but there's been a lot of people who tell the truth and they've gotten locked up. Let's face it, a lot of people tell the truth and people still call them liars. So I'm just not going to be one of those that are going to be so judgmental because I remember growing up, going to church, listening to all the preachers preach and reading the Bible and doing this. And that's another thing. As I've gotten older, I've taken things that the Bible has said and turned it around, not just to suit me, but to suit the way that I live every day. How do I want to treat a person? How would I want to be treated as I'm older? You take away the fun, and what is it replaced with? Misery. I want to continue having fun. I want to continue having joy in my life. I like to see families that are growing together, staying together, playing together, as they say. And even if you don't worship, that's even cool with me, you know, because I quit going to church years ago because I thought to myself, Jesus never did ask anybody for anything. He was given. And if you're blessed enough, you'll be given. And if you do the right things, you'll be given things out there in the world. So, volunteer work, yeah, I still do it. I still do it every once in a while. And it makes me feel good. I don't have to get paid for anything. Not even being being right here on YouTube or expressing myself here on YouTube. I don't have to be paid for it. I'm doing it because I want to do it. I do it because I love people. I love the camaraderie. And I'm not lonely or anything, don't get me wrong, but I do feel that I have something to offer. You know, I can tell you about how I felt when I lived back in the early 50s and 60s when I couldn't do certain things, how it made me feel as a young man. And the young people nowadays don't know how that feels. You know, I was 5 years old in Chicago when I went to Emmett Till's funeral. I wasn't old enough to understand why then, but I seen the horrors and the atrocity that one human being can do to another human being. And that stuck with me. And if a lot of people have seen that picture of him, then they would know. They would know what I'm talking about. I was around the night that Martin Luther King lost his life. How did I feel? Oh, I was so bitter because I had seen Martin Luther King. I had marched with him. I was bitter. I was angry. I wanted to tear up something, but I didn't. I was there when Malcolm left us. Medgar Evers. Jesus. A lot of Robert Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, John Kennedy. A lot of stuff that some went on in this world, in this country alone, that divided people. Hell, I was even around when he shot George Wallace. And if people know about George Wallace, they knew back then he was one of the biggest segregationists it was for that time, in that era, for our era. You know, I got some pictures of me today. My sister sent me some pictures when I was in the seventh grade. And I look back and I reflect on it, and I said I might blow it up and post myself being in the seventh grade. I don't know. I'll probably do it just for the hell of it. But I've looked at how I've changed, how I've grown. What I was doing in the seventh grade back then, I couldn't even fathom. Couldn't even fathom. But one thing for certain and two things for sure. I did have fond memories of school, being in school, playing out on the playground. We had recesses. We had gym. You know, we even went on field trips, what they call field trips. I can remember going to Brookfield Zoo, the Shedd Aquarium in Chicago, the Museum of Science and Industry. I can remember those things. Not only did I do it with the school, but my dad took us out to places. Starved Rock State Park. There's a history in that area. Went up to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to where we went to a poker fest. Uh, at the age of 7, I think it was. My dad, he took us places and we did things and we met different people from different walks of life. And at the time when things were trying to change and we knew we had to be, yeah, we had the towns before sundown where black people, you couldn't be out after sunset, believe it or not. You know, and there are still towns like that, but they're way off in the distance. You know what I'm saying? The last house on the left, that kind of stuff going on. But all in all, like I said, 75 years I've been on this earth. I've seen it all. I've seen people do the worst of things to one another. And I've also seen people come together in times of tragedy, you know. But I also realize too that when there's tragedy, there's also people that want to be underhanded and try to cheat people out of their property. And, like in New Orleans when Katrina hit, a lot of people couldn't go back. And it's not because what was done, is the way they redistricted and what the things that they passed and the laws that they did, you know. And it was, let's face it, the spots in New Orleans was predominantly where it really tore up and things where black people lived there. You go back down there now and it's not the same. It'll never be the same. Nothing is the same after a tragedy, y'all. Uh, the California fires and all that, you know, the tornadoes that we have here in St. Louis, up in St. Louis, not only 100 miles away from me. It's not, the neighborhood's not the same. It'll never be the same again because there's a lot of history or richness that's going on, and people aren't helping each other like they used to. They're not doing things. They're not getting out there and donating. Some people are donating, but let's say it's slow. It's slow. Uh, do I worry about stocks? No, I don't worry about the stock market because we once had a Wall Street. We had big businesses and stuff like that. They took it from us. When I mean they, I mean the government. The government had their hands into it too. You know, it's supposed to be by the people, of the people, and for the people. And we are the people. But when you have a certain group of people that you don't care about anymore, you want to try to degrade them and talk about them, it keeps conflict going. The sector that I dropped into or fell into my lap, I could have left them a long time ago, but there was things that I wanted to do. The beefing sector. There's nothing wrong with roasting and gagging a person, but like a lot of people on here said, this has gotten dark. It's gotten so dark until sometimes you're afraid to just drop down in the chat and say hi to a person, you know, because you're scared that somebody's got something negative to say. And let me tell you, for the people that have something negative to say to me or about me, just let's hope that you get to maybe be my age and get old enough to be negative, but also be positive enough like me to say, I don't care anymore. I'm just trying to warn you now that be careful of what the things you say and how you do it on here. Young men, take care of yourself out there. Find a trade. You used to have jobs and get you a trade. YouTube is not the place to be hanging out at all the time. You know, talking about people, getting angry, and then we're striking each other's pages and doing things that are stupid. It is dumb. We do some of the stupidest things on here for what? Pennies. And as they say, for pennies, it is pennies. Trust me, people. If you add up all the hours that you put in here on YouTube compared to a job that you could be out there making $20 an hour instead of $3.99 an hour. Ah, I don't know. I'm just so happy right now that I'm at peace. I'm at peace. I'm at peace. Like I said, I'm gonna get with Uncle Claude, and we're gonna talk about men things. We're gonna talk about men, ladies. We're no different than you. We have our ups, we have our downs, and believe it or not, men have hot flashes too. The only thing it is, we just don't have babies. That's all. And I tell you what, I'll never want to have a child because I watched my wife give birth to my two daughters. I was in the room then, and I tell you what, for a man not to respect that woman for all the pain that she goes through and everything else, man, you should be now kissing her feet. Even if you don't get along later on in life, be thankful that that woman carried that child for you because there's a lot of women that didn't do it, you know, or else they gave their child up for adoption because they hated you as a man because you wasn't there for them. I'm just saying. You wish we all could. Honey. I know better. I know better. I know it's a burden. It is a burden. you're walking around, especially when a poor woman gets pregnant during the summer months, and she's big in the summer months, and all that heat, and she swells up, her feet swells, her hands. There's a lot of complications that go on with pregnancy that men, you know, I don't know, maybe it's a punishment as men get older, certain things happen to them, like prostate, uh, gray hair. Like I said, men are envious. We're so envious of ourselves. We talk about and want to brag on ourselves, but when we can't do it anymore, that's when we feel our low. That's when we're at our lowest point. Would I love to get out there and play a game of tennis like I used to 20 years ago? Oh, I'd love it. But I know better. I can't do that. And when I see young people out there playing tennis, I shouldn't get mad. I shouldn't get angry. My youthful days are behind me. But what lies ahead is the relaxation and the fun I can have just being myself, just thanking the good Lord and appreciating family, friends, and just because there's a lot of young people that I grew up with that aren't here anymore. Like I said, my sister sent me a yearbook picture. I was in the seventh grade, and I got to looking down the list at all my classmates, and well over half of them are gone now. Well over half. That's just from the seventh grade. So you can imagine my high school friends and all that. Some people that I met in the workforce, they're no longer here. But like I said before, each day that we live, be thankful. Be thankful there's nobody that I've lost relatives to violence, and it made me bitter. But I just had to learn that things happen for a reason. Uh, I don't blame God for it. I blame the devil because people are so evil. They have that evil spirit. There is such thing as evil people. Well, baby, says, yep, yep, yep. I know, sweetheart. I watched believe it or not, when my wife and I got married that year, this has been, oh my God, 1969. When her and I got together, she only weighed 98 pounds, really. My wife was a little bitty thing. But come to find out, the reason she was so little, she has sickle cell anemia. God has kept her here for 77 years now, and she lived through all the sickle cell crisis. And I, I, I just admire her for number one, raising my daughters, and number two, being able to still be around, and we're good friends. We have a relationship that only a father and a mother can have with their kids about their kids. But I can remember she only weighed 98 pounds, and then when she first got pregnant with our first daughter, oh boy, did she balloon up! Boy, she went from 98 to like 127, I believe, and really she had to be put on bed rest because of the complications with her sickle cell and stuff like that. So I know what it is for a woman, and for her to sometimes they get pregnant because they love the man, and other times it might be a mistake. But I want to think that nine times out of 10, when a woman becomes pregnant, it's because of the man, because she loved the man, not because she just wanted to have a baby. Because there were some women out there that just wanted to have a baby, and they didn't give a shit if the man ran off or whatever. But for a woman to really love a man and to have a child for him, that man should love her even twice as hard. Especially, like I said, watching her go through the childbirth, the pain of the childbirth. Yeah, she has sickle cell anemia. She's had it all her life, and trust me, I can't count the number of transfusions she's been through. You know, and the times that she was in a hospital in pain, you know. But God has kept her here too, kept her here for a reason. She's sort of like, I'm not comparing women, but she's a church going woman. She loves God strong. God has always been in her life all the way through, no matter what. Uh, that's another thing. We have to hold on. We have to realize that there is another power out there stronger than we are. We might have the words to talk to one another as human beings and say hurtful things and spiteful things, but when it all in all, when it comes down to it, God has the final say so. You know, you might be able to cuss the world out today and you wake up tomorrow, hey, your voice is going. No reason, no rhyme, no why. Maybe that's because he's got tired of you cursing people out. He fights the devil every day. He fights us every day. And when I say us, I mean human beings. Yeah, we're nothing. We're nothing but, no, I'm not going to say we're nothing, Corrine. I can't say we're nothing. We're God's children. You know, no matter how old we get, we're still going to be a child in God's eyes. It's that old saying, what is it? Once a man, twice a child. You know, I haven't gotten to that second child state. Well, maybe I have, because I remember wanting to jump in and get me a new convertible or motorcycle and ride around like I used to do when I was in my 20s. But nah, I can't do that now. But once a man, twice a child. That's an old saying, you know, and that's true. That's true. I've seen men go into their baby stages. That's why I look at Alzheimer's. I've had friends that has Alzheimer's and dementia. I watched how they deteriorated, you know, to where they got into the part where they point to where they couldn't even feed themselves, like a little child again. Uh, have I experienced negativity? Oh yes, I've experienced negativity all my life as a man growing up, and as a black man growing up in this country. I'm not going to blame everything on everybody. I'm just going to blame everything on the way that the structure of life itself is made and how people think they're better than one another. But let that same person need a blood transfusion, and I was the only one to be able to give it to them. I would give it to them just to let them know, hey, you need me just as much as I need you in a key of life. I think about that, the key of life. Yeah, just like that. We can be. We can turn into demons real quick, real quick. And then, like I said, who was that told me? Jackson 2300 said she's Baptist and she will bless you and praise you in one moment, and the next moment turn around and curse you out, and then go pray about it. I mean, yeah, let's face it, we are demons. The demon comes. It used to come out of me real tough. That's why God tried to tell people, you want to dox me, you better ask somebody about me first, because back in the day, I had a way of getting back at you, and I wasn't telling you either. But now people, like I said, people get so bold. They get on here and I'll come do this. No, you won't. No, you won't. Mm-mm. Give you a free plane ticket, you wouldn't even leave the state. There are some people that never even left their neighborhood, and they can get on here and talk bull crap. So I know how that goes. You're slow to anger. Well, yeah, but once you get angry, darling, look out. You see what I'm saying? I know what that means. You're slow to anger, but once you get angry, they're gonna have to do. They have to do you, sweetheart, like they did me. tie me down because I'm ready to do something. I'm ready to tear up the world, man. I am. I'm ready to tear up the world. But like I said, when I did stuff, I did it by myself. That's another thing. You don't let everybody know what you're doing. When they say don't let your right hand know what your left hand's doing, that's the truth. That is the truth. And my right hand back then was my wife, you know, and my right hand is my girlfriend. So if I get into that stage to where I want to really get out there and do something to somebody, I don't let them know because I don't want them involved in it. I don't want them to say, well, you know, don't do that. No, it's past. Don't do that. For me, when it gets past, there's nothing else left. Mm-mm. I get angry. Trust me. I used to get angry so bad that I would have to walk off and leave to keep from doing something. And I'd be right there in the neighborhood. I drive out of town just to keep from doing something to someone. But like I said, we're all, yep, I could be your worst nightmare as a Taurus, as that bull. Yeah, I could be your worst nightmare. But my dad taught me, you never let anybody know what you're doing, what you're gonna do. Now, after it's all done, if you want to take credit for it, take credit. But I'm not taking credit for anything I've done like that. No. But I can tell you one thing for certain, two things for sure. Even at my old age, I will uck a person up. Okay. So that's why I try not to get on here and lose my temper. I try not to get on here and talk down to anybody. You know, even though I've been talked down to a lot, even in chats and stuff. But like I said, these are internet, as they call them, internet gangsters, wanksters. And once, like I said once before, pretty soon you're not going to be able to do that, folks. They're gonna have it to where there's going to be a knock on your door. Yeah, right. That's why you have to walk away. You have to walk away, sweetheart. And you're the ram. Well, I'm a bull, and red doesn't make. I see red when I get angry. I do. I do. I see red. Uh, but no, I feel a lot better. You know, now that I've come to realize that I can't change people. Only people can change people. But I can't speak about the injustices that we're doing to one another, the things that we say to one another. And I hate it, even though I'm in a sector where they say it's predominantly women and gay men and a few straight men, a couple of straight men. They still talk about women. I can't get it. I don't get it. Uh, a man is a man to me. If you're straight or gay, you're still a man. So why? And even gay men, you guys had mothers. So why are you out here degrading women? Let's face it. I don't know. Yep, they're definitely shutting people down, and they're shutting people down, and people won't don't even know it why they're being shut down because they're not going to tell them. They're going to try to blame it on somebody else. Well, they went in there and did this against me and did that. No, you did it to yourself. Well, you know what? If it doesn't matter who hears me or, no, or don't hear me, dear, I'm still going to be. I'm going to be me. I'm going to be me. Uh, I'm going to try to continue to live to the best of my ability. I've learned a lot of life lessons, and I've made a few mistakes too in life. But the only reason I made those mistakes because being a man, I believe in taking care of the person that I love. And once they turn on me, hey, I'm done. Okay, you got your lick back. You got your lick back. But don't forget, all this shit that was done to me, done here on YouTube, is there's pictures, there's video, and the way you disgrace me. So I try not to worry about it. I let the Lord take care of it and the law take care of it. Like I said, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's another thing. The music nowadays, oh, mm-mm, they're gonna hit them. They're gonna hit them for playing all that explicit, explicit stuff, and people putting people on there in light of, even though they call themselves talking about another person, they put their pictures out there. You know, like I said, I've had an attorney for the last, what, 10, 20 years. He's been a good guy. And he tells me, I talked to him about the things that happened to me and what went on. And he told me where I could go and what I could do. But yeah, I try not to be vindictive, but at times, like I said, it depends on how vindictive you've been with me. Okay. If you tried to ruin me or take everything that I had, then that's one thing. But just to sit up and talk and guess about me, I don't care. Think what you want to think. I'm happy. I love my family. I love the people at times. I've been in public, I ain't gonna say public office, public eye all my life. I served the public. I was a correctional officer at one time, believe it or not. I've seen the worst of the worst and some of the best of the best. So I've been a school bus driver, drove kids to school back in the day. You know, I also drove cab here in my city, meet all walks of life of people. So I just try to keep my head on a swivel now that I'm older. I don't move as fast as I used to, but my mind is still there. I can't run the 50-yard dash, but I can still run a 25-meter dash. Put it that way. May not can run 50 yards, but 25 of them, I can still do it. Yeah. So if anybody has a way to get in touch with Uncle Claude, that's another thing. I don't. I have. Let's see. One, two, three. I have three people's phone numbers off of YouTube uh, that I don't really use them. The only person I really talk to off of YouTube is Gail, is Gail, y'all. So y'all know that. But far as uh, telling what numbers that I have, no, I had a person, I gave them my number. They called. I'm not going to say who. And they told me that they appreciated what I do here on YouTube. And I said, thank you for it. It's none of that back and forth, the shit talking about this person and that person. That's another thing. Friends should not tell other friends secret. If you're a friend of mine, you tell me a secret, I keep it. And if I tell you my secret, please keep it. Please keep it. All this. That's another thing. I got IG. I never used it. I don't have Discord. I never thought about doing Discord or anything like that. Uh, People want to get in touch with me. They know how to get in touch with me in the right way. That is. I go back and think about all the things that happened to me on YouTube. Has it broken me? No, it hasn't broken me. It only made me stronger, but it also made me realize that there are some people out there that you're not going to get along with, regardless to who it is. So I just want to say thank you all. Thank you all so very much for supporting an old man like me. And to Grandmama, Miss 100, you know who you are. Thank you for always being there. I enjoy a lot of things now, that the shorts that I see on YouTube, people having fun, going places and doing things. It's good. there's good things on YouTube. We do good at times, but it seems like now the sector that we're in, it's so hateful and diabolical, and even those that don't like one another, I'm going to continue liking you, whether or not who you like. If y'all fussing and fighting out there, one thing I learned though in life, never get involved in women when they argue. You never say anything. You just sit back because eventually either there's two things going to happen. They're going to work it out and become friends again, or they're going to leave each other alone. And when you see that they have left each other alone, don't even speak on it. Why they did that? It's nobody's business. Everybody teeth and tongue fall out. Let's figure that one out. For every time that you might have bitten your tongue, would you pull your teeth out? I don't know. I don't know. But those are the things that I think about right now. Uh, but a man is different. Men are different. You know, you wanna try to prove your manhood to me, and I've been here way longer than you have. Well, okay, good. I can tell you something that will really make you wonder. You know, if I can, if I'm old enough to be your father, your grandfather, or anything like that, call me Gramps, call me Dad. But there was one time I can remember somebody saying that I'm your daddy. No, nah. If you're my daddy, you've been paying child support. That's a long story. I don't even want to go back into that one. Do I still listen to him? I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I still listen to him. And let me tell you one thing. Uh, I was always told you keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Put it that way. And things things that I've seen out there, I could write about it and talk about it too, but I'm not going to do it. I'll let other people decide who you want to be your friend here on this apparatus, or who do you want to listen to. But when I make up my mind that, hey, you're no longer getting that thumbs up or that like or anything else, I don't know. And that makes me wonder again, why doesn't YouTube have the thumbs down working? I wonder how many people would do things the way that they're doing it now if the thumbs up and the thumbs down worked. I don't know. It just makes me wonder. It just makes me wonder what you know. They do everything on here to make you think that you're doing stuff good, but when it all boils down to it, they're dividing and conquering. You know, pitting men against women, women against women, men against men, uh, gays against straight people. It's the divide and conquer method. Mm-mm. Like I said, I love people as Jesus loves us. If you do something wrong to me, then I know how to react to it. I know what to say about it. I'm not gonna dwell on it. But trust me, I can be one rotten old man, but I choose not to be. Uh, I'm going to get off of here now, and I'm gonna go hit. No, I ain't gonna hit the streets. I'm gonna do what the other person does. I'm gonna go hit me some PlayStation, and hit PlayStation and listen to some music. You guys, I thank all you guys that put up with me for these few minutes and letting you know that, like I said, once again, Miguel is doing well. She's doing fine. If you guys know her address and stuff, or can get in touch with her, drop her a line, drop her a note on her. I don't even know if she has a page, but I don't think she's never done like CC creations. But uh you guys that really know her, that's on her Facebook and stuff like that, let her know that you're thinking about her. 35 years. Oh, oh, oh. See what I'm saying? See what I'm talking about? Mm-mm-mm. Oh, well, on social media telling on themselves, there's been a lot of that going around. I will definitely do that, Corrine. I will definitely do that. Uh, and like I said, you guys, she does have her speech. She's talking and she's feeding herself, and God knows I'm so happy. That's what makes me happy about the whole situation. And but I'm also very optimistic. I'm old. I'm an old man. I think I've seen miracles turn in, things turn around for the worse. I had a friend that another friend that she was doing fine one day and talking, but the next day woke up. Well, 3 days later, she was gone. But I'm not wishing that. I'm not hoping that. I'm praying to God that everything will be all right and that He'll keep me in the right mind because I'm tired of losing the ones that I love. I'm tired of losing, especially people here that I've met on YouTube. You know, I'm tired of seeing people be evil toward each other. Uh, mm, mm. I will definitely tell her, guys. I will definitely tell her. And she told me to tell everybody hello and thank you for the prayers and that she loves y'all too. So yeah, it's a long process, but with God's help, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. So thank you once again, my daughter mixology. Thank you, Corrine Aqua Claire, my niece. Love you so much. Love you so much. Thank you for being here. Uh, I'm getting kind of choked up here. That, like I said, I got feelings too. As a man, I'm not afraid to admit it, though. Shit, I'm not. Vibrant Love, Arkansas. Thank you, dear. I'll be over there. I'll probably be there with you tomorrow to play some poker. She plays poker, y'all. uh, I will be there. Your pleasure. 721. Thank you for those little kind things you do. If you guys want to feel good about yourself and have a good time, go over there and look at some of the stuff that Your Pleasure 721 posts up on her board and stuff. It is beautiful. Miss Jean Hulk. Thank you, darling. I will be talking with you later, hopefully. Yes. So don't worry about it, people. Everything is gonna be all right. Everything is all right now. I'm doing good. I'm feeling fine. And who knows? I might just get up here at 3 o'clock in the morning, throw some jazz on or something. I don't know, whatever. But like I said, I'm gonna jump off of here and go get on my doggone PlayStation. So peace and blessings to you all. And like I said, I love you as Jesus loves us. And next time we will have a conversation. I'll drop the link. So if people want to bet, I'll let them bet. So, but peace and blessings to you, baby. And hey, tell hubby I said keep that grill going because I'll be there one of these years. I'm gonna be there. Be a surprise on everybody. But first, I gotta go see about my boo, and then I'll be okay. Jackson 23. Thank you also, dear, for always having kind things to say. And you are a miracle. You are a miracle. If you guys know Jackson 23's story, then you know everything's possible. Everything is possible through the Lord. Yeah. Oh, chopped cheese. Made some chopped cheese on it. What did you have with the chopped cheese, though? That's what I was wondering. I remember. I know he had. Was that noodles that he did? Noodles with what? I'm just. You got me curious now. You got me wanting to talk about him cooking, boy. I tell you what, he's a chef boy RD in the family. I think he. I think he's outdoing you now on that grill. Mm. Yeah, but I think I know he can cook. I know he can cook for sure. Oh yeah, I know it. That's probably you see when you get when you get a good man that can cook like that. Oh shit, you I ain't gonna say nothing. Women think that it's a man, a way to a man's heart is through his stomach. With a man, if you can cook, that woman ain't gonna let you. And especially, I ain't gonna starve as a man, and I know I ain't gonna let you starve as a man. And so, yeah, I better be cooking for both of us. Okay, lady. I'm gonna have some fun tonight. I'm gonna go play me some games. I'm like, oh, now you don't want to cook. You that ain't that you don't want to cook. Is that you done got spoiled? You're spoiled. I know. That's all right though. Hey, I'm glad he spoiled you. Yeah, that gives you time enough to spoil mama too. I know how she's doing. Is she doing okay, sweetheart? Is mama doing fine? Or is she still being a little mean self to you? I know she ain't mean, but oh, you're very special. No, you're not. The baby girl is special. My baby, my grandbaby is special. Okay, I'm glad she's doing good. Glad she's doing good. And I'm going to get off here. Once again, thank everybody for coming up and making things a little bit joyful for me. And I hope I was able to get across what I feel about life itself so far. I'm enjoying it. I'm going to continue enjoying it. But I also have those days when I don't feel right about the way things are going. But it's all in God's hands. With that being said, loves you as Jesus loves us. See you guys later. Bye bye.